So we had a very bad plane accident last night, and I'm very upset because it happened while I was president. I've been told there's victims, but it's also mostly the biggest victim of this is really me because it's 2 weeks into my new and, by the way, very strong. Many respected scholars are saying it's the greatest first 2 weeks of any administration. It's happening during my administration, which I think says a lot. I think it says a lot about how much the deep state wants us to fail. And by the way, nobody's talking about this was a Black Hawk helicopter. Okay, it's called Black Hawk. And if you know, you never had these problems with White Hawk helicopters. Nobody ever talks about that, but we started doing DEI for helicopters and other things. And you see the results because there's been, excuse me, there's been a lot of bad stories. You don't report them, but there was one movie called Black Hawk Down. We've had a lot of problems with the Black Hawks. You never had a movie called White Hawk Down because the White Hawks, it's code qualified. I know people don't want me to say that, but we have done DEI in terms of hawks and with planes. And by the way, everybody always called him Amtrak Joe. Remember Sleepy Joe, the person who's really to blame for this? Amtrak Joe, he's very anti-planes because he wanted us to take trains. And he was also against automobiles, which is why he had this whole Green New scam going to get us to do electric cars. So basically, when you're talking about movies, plane, trains, and automobiles, he was against 2/3 of that great movie. And people are saying I'm wrong. No, I'm actually right. So don't pay attention in any way, by the way, to anything I did in terms of FAA or anything like that. This is a DEI problem. And I get messages from a lot of White Hawks who say to me, sir, I haven't been able to get hired as a helicopter because of the wokeness. And it stops now. We're going to not be woke with hooks anymore. We're going to go for merit. Okay? So that's it. Okay, everybody. Here's the thing. And it's me now because I've tipped the hat up. Here's the thing. First off, I need to shave. Secondly, this is the kind of bullshit that Trump is going to be spewing for the next 4 years. It's the same guy. This is the thing. We've always known this. This is the guy who on 9/11, if he were president, I assume he would have been complaining about wokeness in between plane crashes and faulty construction and woke immigrants doing construction as the towers fell. That may sound like parody or exaggeration, but I don't think this man has any empathy or sympathy. I think he is has the mindset maybe of like a serial killer, except he's too sort of lazy and fat to ever do like the killing, but he has the spirit of a serial killer, if that makes sense. But this is a guy who bragged about his building being the tallest in Lower Manhattan right after the towers fell. That's the level of sort of focus and sympathy that he's capable of. This is kind of a new low, but of course I know I was doing jokes, but he probably does think this is like an attack on his administration, not deaths of people and a tragedy. I mean, it's that too, but he's really thinking, I think, this is not the PR I need to start my new campaign, and that's going to be my focus. But I woke up this morning, I heard about the crash last night, and it was a tragedy. And then I woke up this morning comforted to see real world star Sean Duffy is our Secretary of Transportation. No longer Pete Buttigieg, who's a brilliant, smart, talented guy, but he's gay, so he'll never be president. It's that simple in this country. But now we have a real world star. I assume Puck is next to replace Marco Rubio if he steps down. And then seeing tweets of prayers from, what's his name, Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense, because there was obviously a military helicopter involved. So I guess he had to pause his reenactment of the bar scene from The Accused to weigh in. So he's on top of it. So we've got the absolute F team on top of this, and with a really mentally deranged, cruel person who is of a level of selfishness that is sort of almost hard to comprehend running the whole show. So remember, everybody, it was wokeness and DEI, not anything else that led to this. And don't even pause for the victims. Just focus on what an injustice this is to Donald Trump's bizarre, mentally deranged, and evil mind. All right, that's it. Bye.